It's a little muscle that causes a lot of big problems. Check this out. Hi, I'm Dr. Joe DeMarco, chiropractor and owner of OcraMed Health. The Pronator Teres muscle is the little muscle of the forearm that we're talking about today that oftentimes causes big problems in the gym for the elbow and the shoulder, and it's oftentimes overlooked as a cause of elbow problems and shoulder problems. Now, the Pronator Teres has two parts to it. It has a deep head that's coming off the coronoid process of the ulnar, and the muscle travels diagonally across the forearm and attaches about halfway down on the radius, which is the outside bone of the forearm. And then it has a superficial head coming off of the medial epicondyle of the humerus or arm bone, and that too goes across the forearm diagonally and inserts in the same exact spot about halfway down on the radius. Therefore, when you contract this muscle, it pronates. It turns your palm from facing up to facing down. It pronates the forearm. So why does the Pronator Teres get tight? And believe me, it's tight in a lot of people. You can test it out right now. If you take your hands, you'll find how easily a lot of people will notice how easy it is to turn the palms down to pronate. But because the Pronator Teres is tight on a lot of people, if you ask people to supinate, which is the opposite motion, they can barely get into a fully supinated position, and if they can do it, they're actually kind of forcing the motion. It doesn't go as easily as pronating, and that's because these muscles are often tight on a lot of people. So why does it get tight? Well, a lot of people are spending their day, they're sitting at a desk, they're at the computer, they're in a pronated state all day. So when you're in a pronated state all day, the Pronator Teres muscle is in a shortened position. You leave any muscle in a shortened position over extended periods of time, that muscle is going to get tight, that muscle is going to build up fascial adhesions, and it's going to get restricted. So you're at your desk, you leave work, you're driving your car, we're pronated. We're not in a supinated position much during the day, we're mostly pronated. And it's no different than sitting all day with your hip flexors are shortened, your hamstrings are shortened. So it's a kind of a well-known thing that people that sit all day have tight hamstrings, tight hip flexors. Well, you know what? You can add to the list tight Pronator Teres muscles. So why is this a big deal when we go into the gym? Well, let's explain it a little bit. Say it's deadlift day, you're going into the gym, it's time to deadlift, you're going to use a mixed grip. I'm flipping over my right hand on the bar. Now, I have trouble, my Pronator Teres is say for example, it's so tight that I can't really fully supinate this hand that much. I can feel it pulling through here. You may be someone that has the same problem. It doesn't really fully supinate. However, I'm still going to grab this bar to do my deadlifts. So if my hand isn't able to fully supinate because of a tight Pronator Teres muscle, what happens when I grab this bar? Well, in order to get my hand all the way around this bar, I'm going to put the extra motion through the elbow and the shoulder to turn the arm in order to grip that bar. So now, before I've even started the pull on my deadlift, I've already put stress on my elbow, my shoulder, and probably my bicep tendon, and I haven't even lifted the weight off the ground. Now I'm going to go pull 300, 400, 500 pounds. That's a surefire way to eventually end up with an elbow injury, a shoulder injury, a torn bicep, or bicep tendonitis. You're forcing motion into the elbow and shoulder that shouldn't be there, because if the Pronator Teres was nice and loose, you should be able to comfortably grab that bar. And the same can be said for an exercise such as bicep curls. You grab a straight bar, those forearms won't fully supinate. However, you're going to make sure you grab that bar. Where does that extra motion come from? It's coming from the elbow. It's coming from the shoulder. So now, before I've even started my curl, or if I jumped up on a bar before I've even started my pull-ups, I've already placed stress on the elbow. I've already placed stress on the shoulder, and I haven't even started the exercise yet. So that's why this muscle being tight leads to injuries. So we have to get this Pronator Teres. If your Pronator Teres is tight, if you notice you have trouble supinating, we have to do some fascia release work on this muscle. We have to loosen it up. And oftentimes, not only is this muscle tight, but oftentimes it's weak, so we need to strengthen it. So we're going to go over both today. We're going to go over how to loosen up this pronator teres, and we're going to go over how to strengthen this pronator teres, and we're going to stop hurting our elbows and stop hurting our shoulders. Let's get right to it. All right, so let's move on. Let's do some fascia release work on the pronator teres. Now, everything I'm going to go over with you right now, you can improvise. You can use your knuckles. You can use your thumb. Is it better to use a spiky massage ball? This is a regular sized Tai Chi ball from OcraMed Health. Yes, if you have a spiky massage ball at home, by all means, use the spiked ball. You're going to be able to get into the deeper adhesions than you can with just your thumb or your knuckles. Like I said, if you don't have a massage ball, then improvise with the knuckles and your thumb. But I'm going to use the spiky ball today because I know that the spikes get in deeper, and there's a lot of times deep adhesions in there that you have to get to and you have to break it up, okay? So first off, just some general soft tissue work. Bring out your arm and just work the ball over the course of that muscle. So you're going to start from the inside of the elbow and going diagonally down to the outside of the forearm, about halfway down where the muscle attaches. And we're just going to go over it. I'm applying firm pressure down as much as I can handle to my tolerance. And as I'm doing that, I'm going to start contracting and relaxing the pronator teres. So between the massage ball digging over the tissue and the contracting and relaxing of the pronator teres, I'm going to get a ton of blood flow through into the muscle, which is exactly what I want. I'm going to get a lot of blood flow. Do it for about 60 or 90 seconds of firm massage work and contracting and relaxing the pronator teres. When you're done, you're going to be red in here. That's exactly what we want. We want to get a lot of blood flow, and the redness on the skin is just the muscles gushing with blood. After we do that, now we're going to do a little trapping of the pronator teres with some active motion to get some of this tissue to break up and pull apart. First off, we have to find the pronator teres. It's easy to do. If you pronate your forearm and contract it in a pronated position, the pronator teres is contracted, so it's hard. So put your fingers on the front of your forearm, pronate it, push your fingers down. That tight muscle in there is your pronator teres from the inside of the elbow, and as we said, it comes across this way. So here's what we're going to do with the ball. You're going to take the ball and you're going to push it down onto the pronator teres with your thumb. And not only are you going to push it down, but you're going to pull the ball towards the inside of your elbow. So I'm pushing down and I'm pulling towards the inside of the elbow. Now, you're going to do that push down and pull with the elbow bent and the forearm fully pronated. So I have the forearm pronated, my elbow's bent. Now I'm pushing down with the ball and I'm pulling in towards the elbow, and that's the start position. From here, I'm going to hold firm pressure on that ball. I don't want it to move, and I'm going to supinate my forearm as I extend out my elbow. All the time, I'm maintaining firm pressure with the ball. When I get as far as I can, to get a little extra release on it, I'm going to use a wall, and I'm going to push my palm flat against the wall, and I'm going to extend my elbow as far as it will go. And at no time am I releasing the pressure off that ball, and I'm going to hold this for a 10 count, and then I'm going to relax it, and then you can take the ball off. I'm going to do it 3 times on that one spot. And then I'm going to move it down a little bit further down onto the muscle, and I'll repeat it 3 more times, once again holding each time for 10 seconds. The Tai Chi ball, or even if you're using your thumb, or if you have a golf ball, don't be surprised. It's going to make some marks on your forearm. That's okay. You know, you can do this every day, but if the following day the pronator teres is sore from the work you did, or if it's bruised up in there, then skip a day until it feels like it's recovered. You know, recovery days are important. You can do it every day, but if you do go at it very hard and you've really worked it hard and it's sore and bruised the next day, then you want to skip a day or 2 before you do the process again. Now, another great technique to use on this is, a lot of you out there have our neck lax that we use for various neck problems, but the neck lax is actually an awesome tool for working the forearm muscles. Now, as you know, these shiatsu massages on the neck lax can be flipped and turned to fit the size of your forearm. And this is a great way of trapping the tissue of that pronator teres too. So if you just fit your arm in there and get the shiatsu massager right on that pronator teres. What I like about this is instead of me having to hold and twist my other arm and hold the Tai Chi ball in place, I can actually just grab that shiatsu massager, get it right on the pronator teres, and then just squeeze down on it, and it's trapping the muscle for me. I'm going to pronate and bend the elbow like this, and now I have that pronator teres trapped in the neck lax, and I can just go through that whole process of supinating, extending the elbow, and then using the wall and holding for 10 seconds. And it's just a more comfortable way of doing it. I'm not in there with my thumb where it can get a little awkward. I mean, either technique works. So you can give either one a try. If you have a neck lax, you can use it on the forearm. Massage ball is going to dig in there deep, of course, too. So either one's a great way to get a release on that pronator teres. Next up, a fantastic stretch for the muscle. Okay, next up is stretching the pronator teres. Now, I highly recommend you do the fascia release work first, because that work is going to bring a ton of blood flow into the muscle, and you're going to get a better stretch. And it's actually safer to stretch when there's a lot of blood flow in there. So do the fascia release work first, and then move on to this stretch. So I'm going to stretch my right pronator teres. I'm going to take my left hand, I'm going to grip around right underneath my thumb with my left fingers, and then I'm going to put my left thumb on the back of my right hand. And from this position, I'm going to use my left hand to pull my right forearm into supination. So I'm actually applying pressure like this, and I'm going to bring the inside of my hand right up against my chest. So that's the kind of my starting position, and I am applying pressure. I'm supinating the hand. Now, to get more out of this stretch, what we're going to do is two things. One is you're going to start to pull the right elbow away from your body, and at the same time that the elbow is coming away from the body, I'm going to use my left hand to flex my wrist of my right hand, and I'm going to pull down. So from here, I bring it against my chest, the elbow starts to come away from the body, and as the elbow's coming away from the body, I'm flexing the right wrist and I'm pulling down towards my stomach. And when you can't go any further, that's the position you're going to hold for 30 seconds. And then release it. I'll tell you, you're going to really feel that stretch. I want you to do it 3 times for 30 seconds. You're going to feel a great stretch through that pronator teres. When you're done, it's going to feel like your hand melts into supination when you're done with that fascia release into that stretch. Next up, we're going to do an exercise. Let's strengthen this muscle. Okay, next up, an easy way to strengthen the pronator teres muscle. As I mentioned before, it's not only oftentimes tight, this muscle doesn't get a lot of use. It can be oftentimes very weak, and that leads to problems also. So all we're going to need is an exercise band. Just have a seat, and you're going to step on the exercise band with one foot. So it's under my right leg. I'm strengthening my right pronator teres muscle, and I'm going to place the band in my palm like this, so that the band is actually, the tension of the band is pulling my forearm into full supination. So I have it pulling my forearm into supination. I have my whole forearm resting on my thigh to stabilize the arm, so that I can concentrate on just making the motion through the pronator teres. So I'm going to try to keep everything stabilized through here. The band is pulling me into full supination, and so from this position, I'm just going to simply pronate and turn my palm towards the ground, and then in a nice controlled manner, let it come back. So that's the exercise. I would try to do, mild to moderate tension on the band. You want to make sure you're going to get at least 15, if not maybe 20 repetitions of this exercise, and I would recommend doing 3 sets on each pronator teres muscle on each arm. So that's the motion. As I turn it, the back of the band is just going over the back of my hand. I can feel the contraction that pronator teres is working, and it's just like that. 3 sets, 15 to 20 repetitions on each pronator teres muscle. That exercise can be performed every day. If you feel like you've done a lot of work, once again, skip a day in between. But if your pronator teres is especially weak, that's an exercise that you can do on a daily basis until you feel that you've brought the strength up in that muscle. All right. right, so there you have it. You know, if you've had some unexplained elbow and shoulder injuries over the past year or two and you just couldn't figure out what was going on, perhaps it was that Pronator Teres was tight on you. So give those techniques a try. I wish you the best. Hey, listen, I really appreciate the support we've been getting. People have been coming to our website, www.OcraMedHealth.com, and picking up some Tai Chi balls, exercise bands. We have fitness programs. We have our SRI 2.0 massage gun. I appreciate the support of the channel. I love making videos for everybody. And it helps a lot to have that type of support. So thank you very much. If you're enjoying these videos, please subscribe to my channel, OcraMed Health on YouTube. Questions about exercises or injuries, just leave a comment in the comment section below. I always do everything I can to get back to everyone. And don't forget, OcraMed Health is here to keep you fit forever.